The Queen of Death Valley, a Shoshone tribe myth. In the southwestern United States is a land of extremes, one of the hottest, driest, and lowest places on earth. It is a tract of arid land, an alkaline plain, surrounded by steep mountains, large drifts of soda dust that trap the unsuspecting, and animals that die mummified before they can decay, and the remains of many thoughtless and ignorant traveler lies bleached on the scorching waterless plains. On the east side of Dead Mountain are points of white rocks that in the distance stand as ancestral ghosts of the horrors that destroyed their once fertile plain. Long ago, the Shoshone tribe called this land home. They traveled the Great Basin, southeast of Sierra Nevada, Southern California, and Death Valley, through Utah to the stretches of western Colorado. The old stories tell that once the valley was green and quite fertile. Natural, beautiful springs of water graced the many trees and lush vegetation. A massive freshwater lake filled with fish and abundance of otter and beaver once graced the middle of the valley. The Shoshone lived off the corn maze, bears, squash, sunflowers, and groves of mesquite trees, feasting on the meats of the various wildlife and fowl. The connection to the land was strong, and the love provided them with furs and stones and pigments to adorn and decorate themselves. During this time of plenty, the people were ruled by a beautiful queen, but while she was beautiful, she was quite vain, demanding, and worldly. The queen longed for a way to show off her grand power, so gathering the Shoshone tribe, she ordered that a mansion larger and greater than any of the peoples around or to the south of her. The people mined and dragged marble, quartz, granite, and timber from the mountains to the site of the new mansion on the shores of the Great Lake. In the beginning, the people worked quite hard to please their young, beautiful queen, seeing as their pride and duty to see her dream come true. They did not complain as the work dragged on and as the queen was sacred and tied deeply to the land. But as the years passed, the splendor of the mansion was so great that the work dragged on and on and on, and the queen became more and more terrified that she would never see its end. All the tribe worked on the grand building, including the queen's own daughter, and the queen herself became vicious in her pride, lashing the backs of those who worked too slow and pushing the people to a deep exhaustion. Still, the people worked, for her line was a sacred one, and her spirit was that of the land. One day the fear was with the queen, and she struck out at her own daughter, striking her quite viciously. At the strike, the princess dropped her heavy burden of white quartz stone, and turned to her mother. She uttered an unforgivable curse, tainting the queen and her kingdom. Then her spent form, exhaustion, was sunk into the land, and she died. At the dead body of her flesh, the queen was struck by her own greed and obsession. Grieving at her daughter's corpse, she saw all she had destroyed, replacing her family and her love of nature with slavery. In her greed, she had tossed away the people and the life she had loved. Her own despair and grief was swallowed by the land. The sun increased in the sky till the plants withered, and the lakes and streams receded, and became the barren pools. The animals fled the wrath of the land, and the once fertile valley was barren and dry. Those who did not die of starvation fled, leaving the queen in her half-finished mansion. Shoshone legends say that her half-finished mountain can still sometimes be seen, glinting softly in the valley heat, and sometimes in the wind you can hear her mournful cry as she weeps for her daughter.